Well, hello there, partner. Go on and hang up your hat, grab yourself a whiskey, and pull up in the easy chair. We're coming off the range of 9 to 5s with a whole herd of news stories that we've been steaming over like a cow patty in the Texas heat. As they say, the chickens are finally coming home to roost. And we're here to ruffle some feathers and ensure accountability ain't just a concept, it's reality. It's that time where the day's drama casts its longest shadow. So let's light a candle to the chaos of current events, the whirlwind of politics, and the tangled webs of corruption that we find ourselves entwined by. It's time to ramble our way into the twilight. Welcome to Sunset Rants.
Hello, everybody. Happy Wednesday, happy hump day, happy Sunset Rants Day. I hope everybody had a great day. We're halfway through the week. We got some stories for you today that we're going to go over. But first, I just want to introduce myself. My name is Biddy, and I'm a host here along with Valley. And you can find me on X at Elizabethy213A. Valley, where can they find you?
Yeah, so I'm glad to be back. Thanks for carrying on without me on Monday. So I'm that Valley girl, because if you can't tell, I just have a tiny bit of a West Coast accent, not too noticeable, but hey. So you can find me on X at the Cali Melody, and where can people interact with us or share thoughts or get interested in Romanation if they choose to, Biddy?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. So we got a website. It's the best place to start. It's called riseofmiddleamerica.com. It's our podcast network. You can also access it by capturing the Q&R code. There it is at the bottom of the screen. And we also have a Discord that you can access with our website. The bottom of the page, if you so choose, you can make a monetary contribution. There's a PayPal link there to help us push this post-cancel culture society. So like, comment, subscribe, all the things. Follow the show on X and Rumble. On X, it's at the real Roma _AK. On Rumble, it's at Romanation. And yeah, so let's get into it. We got a lot to talk about. We got some battling budget plans. We got DOGE dividend. We got Susan Collins warns Trump. We got USPS heads steps down. And we got a little remembrance that we're going to talk about later as well. But first, let's get started with this article from The Hill. Trump backs House GOP reconciliation bill over Senate version. So just kind of like in the interest of having the one subject bills, instead of these overly bloated ones that just give money everywhere else except to American people and our interests. President Trump on Wednesday threw his support behind the House GOP's strategy to pass a single bill that combines his priorities, even as Senate Republicans move ahead with their own budget resolution. Quote, the House and Senate are doing a spectacular job of working together as one unified and unbeatable team. However, unlike the Lindsey Graham version got called out there by the president of the very important legislation currently being discussed, the House resolution implements my full America First agenda, everything, not just parts of it. This was a post on Truth Social by none other than President Trump. But we need both chambers to pass the House budget to kickstart the reconciliation process and move all of our priorities to the concept of one big, beautiful bill, Trump continued. Yes. Just one. Can we just do it one thing at a time? Yeah, right. One big, beautiful bill. I do a terrible
beautiful
job.
bill. It'll be spectacular.
Yes, yes.
Lindsey Graham.
It's going to be the best bill ever. One bill. One big, beautiful bill. Vice President Vance is expected to huddle later Wednesday with Senate Republicans at lunch. Trump is in Florida, where he will speak at Saudi-backed investment forum in Miami. Senator John Barrasso of Wyoming, the second-ranking Senate Republican, told reporters after Trump's post that senators were, quote, still on schedule with their budget resolution. So, he pointed out Lindsey Graham, and Graham has been a very interesting character for quite some time. A lot of us have started to realize over the past few years that he's a little greedy, and he's kind of a warmonger, and it doesn't seem like he wants money going to Ukraine to stop. I know we have a post on X, if we can get that up there in just a second, where it just kind of like lays out what his wish list is. Graham's budget sparks debate over Ukraine aid. Senator Lindsey Graham's budget proposal, currently moving through the Senate, includes significant funding for, you guessed it, Ukraine. And through 2030, this has sparked debate among Republican senators and the public, with figures like Senator Josh Hawley pushing for an audit on Ukraine aid to ensure accountability. Social media posts reflect a strong sentiment of skepticism and demand for transparency regarding U.S. foreign spending. There's, in the wake of everything that's been going on, all the money that we've seen that have gone overseas, Zelensky coming out and saying that out of all the money that was supposedly was allocated for them and it was sent there, he only saw about half. So in all of that we're learning, why in the heck would we be adding more money for Ukraine in a spending bill? Why would we add it anyway?
Yeah. So there's a couple things that I have a problem with, right? If you are talking about 2030, you're essentially alluding that there is going to be some type of territorial dispute up until 2030, which is going to further perpetuate the war. And if there is going to be some agreement between Russia and Ukraine before 2030, then why is that dated so far in the future? The other issue that I have, and it's not specifically with Lindsey Graham, but it was one of our commenters talking about single issue bills. I know Massey is like a big proponent of that. Like, I agree. I actually am not a fan of a big, beautiful bill. There are so many different things, and I've said this multiple times, there's so many different things where they can get wrapped up into, foreign aid. And apparently Lindsey Graham wants to add, money from, or money allocated to Ukraine to add into this bill, which is going to make it even less transparent to kind of dissect every single thing that Congress would be voting for, right? So there's a few issues that I have with this moving forward. I also posted on my personal X account, Callie Melody, that with all of the resources that Ukraine has, they are still in the top when it comes to human trafficking. And in fact, they don't even
allegedly.
You can actually look this up on government websites. The government of Ukraine has shown that it's taken minimum, it hasn't even passed the minimum requirements towards eliminating human trafficking. So, there's a lot of corruption going on within Ukraine. And again, this isn't, pro-Russian propaganda stance. At the same time, if we can't even allocate for a large percentage of the money that we're giving to Ukraine, then how are we supposed to know how it's being spended? And why is the government still so corrupt over there when they have been asking to be a part of NATO, when they are saying they're allies of the West? There's a lot of things that aren't quite adding up.
They don't align with our values, and
right, they don't align with our values. There's missing billions of dollars. Impure says pre-Ukraine war, the media was saying Ukraine is the most corrupt European nation. Exactly.
That's crazy. I would love to see that. I gotta pull up those. No, you make a lot of great points. Ever since, and we'll talk about DOGE in a little bit, but like ever since the whole audit through DOGE has been going on, just specifically with Ukraine, it was like 177 billion. They only saw, according to Zelensky, they only saw half. There was things like paying for people's pension and all this other kind of stuff. And it's like, well, Americans are suffering, and we don't even have the option to say, oh, here you go, we're going to donate for the cause. It just gets taken from us, and if we don't pay it, we can get in a lot of trouble. So they need to stop with these bills. And another thing that kind of like I wonder about, because I'm still trying to kind of learn how the process works. I don't know if it's just a balance of and it probably is, but people in Congress just not working enough. There's like way too many days off. They work very little. A lot of them don't show up. You see when they're doing something, it's like empty floor. They come in and out and all this other kind of stuff. So, I was wondering if it's just like single issue bills and we have like all of this cleanup to do, will that extend it way too long to where things don't get done? Or it would have to be a combination of the single issue bills plus them, working harder. And if we're asking Congress to vote on them working harder, or if it's something that Senator Thune can just kind of dictate to them, like, no, we need to extend the hours so that way we can get all of this done. Like I kind of wonder if it's kind of like a trade-off of having like the single issue bills. But then again, like you said, they just stuff all of these things in there that we don't need, or it's not in our interest as Americans. It's going everywhere but here. And if it is going here, it's to fund some kind of like DEI, critical race theory, transgender surgery, inclusion, some kind of like, if and anything that we get, it's kind of like indoctrination camp, so nothing that we could say is beneficial.
Right. I mean, the issue with Congress, right, is that they're allocated a salary, and whenever you have a salary position, it's not broken up hourly, right? So there are pros and cons to this. In many situations, salary positions are actually have less hours than hourly because they're not being charged on the hour every hour. They don't punch in and they don't punch out. So Impure says, again, repeal regulations. I say we pay them a lot less. I mean, maybe there is some pressure, right? And I know that one of the things that Trump was looking into and that DOGE was looking into, I always say DOGE wrong.
Well, that's because so many are trying to dodge it.
Right, exactly. That they're looking into is, why all of these politicians have, average salaries and their net worth is a lot more than that. But, anyways, I digress. I am for the smaller government, the better.
Anyhow,
I could go on for hours. Just let me know, producers, if you want to do it. Valley Girl hates the government special.
Yeah. Well, it's funny too, because I was looking up a couple of things about Lindsey Graham, and there's a lot of weirdness out there about what his net worth is actually, which is kind of funny. And I suspect it, allegedly there could be some offshore account stuff, some maybe not, saying what he's actually taking in. and all this other kind of stuff. So Lindsey Graham, he earns an annual salary of $174,000 as a U.S. senator, which is standard for most senators. But his net worth, which it's reported that it's between 1 million and 2 million. However, some suggest that it could be significantly higher, with rumors that it could range up to 46 million due to different methods used to calculate net worth, and the range is reported in financial disclosure forms. So there's that kind of weirdness. And then also, like most senators and people in Congress, he owns a ton of property. He owns several commercial properties. He owns a huge building in South Carolina. He has, a couple of homes and things like that. So it's very odd when you see these people coming out, when we have this idea that a lot of this could be money laundering, a lot of the stuff that's been going overseas, and you worry about kickbacks. Here's another senator she's got some issue with DOGE, and she wants to push back against Trump and his spending. So
of course she does.
Yeah, why don't you? We kind of skipped over in the middle there, but it's a perfect segue. So why don't you take that one?
All right, let me just give me 1 sec to pull it up here. All right, just pulling it up on my end. All right, so
yeah, they're in the threat mode.
Right. So this is the article from Politico. It says, you would see lawsuits. Susan Collins fires new warning shot at Trump on spending. The senior Republican senator negotiating a deal to avoid a government shutdown in less than a month says that the Trump administration may be breaking the law and flouting the U.S. Constitution. So as Elon Musk and the White House Budget Office seek to block spending that has already been approved by Congress, I think it's pretty clear that this violates Article 1 of the Constitution, said Senator Susan Collins of Maine, the chair of the Senate Appropriations Committee. You would see lawsuits if the actions continue, Collins says. A lot of these issues are going to end up in court. So Collins also said she'd not spoken to or heard from Musk since their first and only meeting last year. A notable lack of communication between the leader of Department of Government Efficiency and a chief gatekeeper of the federal purse strings. I mean, to be fair, they don't need to communicate. The only person that Musk should be communicating with is his team and the president. So in contrast, Musk sat down as recently as last week with Speaker Mike Johnson and Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene of Georgia, the chair of the new House subcommittee on delivering on government efficiency, intended to complement Musk's effort to cut government waste. So the thing about Politico, right? You have like all of this like language, that tries to make them appeal to both sides of the aisle. So in contrast, right, in this crazy contrast, of speaking with the Speaker of the House and the chair of the new House subcommittee committee that's specifically working on government efficiency and waste. I mean, these are people that he needs to communicate with, right? So right. This wild contrast that he's doing this in regards to, and her comments marked an escalation at a moment where the Department of Government Efficiency and the Office of Management and Budget are rampaging largely unchecked across the government to freeze spending. So, I do have some criticism. I'm probably one of the few that do. I can see that is going largely unchecked, but at the same time, if he is speaking with, Mike Johnson and a new subcommittee that is specifically allocated towards, auditing and slashing the government, that it's not going unchecked, right? That's actually the opposite. They are checking with several committees. It's just not her committee.
Right, exactly. Well, they're so used to doing it the Washington way, I
Right, right.
understand because they're going to try and tag and cite the Constitution every chance they get, because that just kind of falls in line with the narrative we're in a constitutional crisis. But the
Mhm.
thing is at the end of the day, you guys are working for the people. The people voted for this. We knew exactly that this was on the table when we voted for President Trump. We knew that this kind of like transparency and government efficiency, this DOGE thing, was going to happen prior to the election. So we want this to happen. We need to find out. We need to first stop the bleeding. That's important, because you can't, like, if your purse is tipped over and all your money is flying out, and you're trying to say, well, I need to know how much money I have to pay for this thing I'm trying to buy right here, but your
Mhm.
money's flying out of your purse. How are you supposed to get it all together? You need to take your purse up and stop your money from falling out, figure out how much you still have in the bank, and then we can say, okay, we can allocate this or that. Like, I
Or
understand
you
what
get
she's saying.
mugged, which is what
Right,
the
or you get
government is doing.
right, right. Like, so like they know exactly what they're doing when they try to like rear everybody to this like thought process. They know exactly what
Right.
they're trying to do, but they also know that even if it's gone through Congress, there's a ton of stuff that's gone through Congress that is like sending money outside the door that we should not be funding, a whole ton of it. So that's the whole
Right.
point here, is that we need to stop, we need to pause, and we need to figure out what's going on before we proceed with any kind of spending. So I know we have a video of Rhino Susan Collins coming out about DOGE. Let's hear what she has to say.
By the wayside that don't need to be cut.
I am. As I have already said repeatedly, that I think many of these firings are indiscriminate. We should wait till cabinet members are confirmed, can take a careful look at their agency's need, rather than doing these sweeping indiscriminate cuts. The fact that workers were let go who are working on avian flu, and the fact that workers have also been fired who are responsible for nuclear safety shows that we need a far more careful approach. Much more.
What recourse does
Have you,
Congress have?
have you had any conversations with Robert F. Kennedy Jr.? I know you said last week you were going to call him about some of these cuts. And what did he tell you?
Yeah. So so she spoke her piece. I understand what she's saying. Again, they're very good at what they say, and I kind of understand what she's saying. Like, let the people that are confirmed in these specific agencies and institutions, what they aren't privy to prior to them being confirmed and in that office, see exactly what they need, what kind of staffing they need, what kind of money they need to continue, whatever. So there could be something to that, but I also think pausing it is not a terrible thing. I know there was the whole thing with the nuclear position that that was, they fired some people and then they realized, okay, wait, we actually need them, and that was kind of like a hiccup. So that kind of stuff shouldn't happen, but I imagine it might happen again, because there's been so much overlapping corruption of who's actually needed and what jobs they actually do. And if 10 people need to do the job of one person, so I think maybe they should kind of like filter it out a little bit cleaner. But then again, I feel like it's such a labyrinth that it's probably difficult to do it 100% pristine every time. So
Right. I mean, again, I am a little bit more critical, but I do think that calling out the corruption and the transparency that we're getting from the government, like, this is the first time this has ever happened. My
to this
concern,
level, yeah.
yeah, at this level, right? I mean, my concern is that there are private companies and private classes that are getting this money that's been cut allocated to their specific projects. She's trying to be pragmatic, sure, but I'm wanting the government to look like a Cannibal Corpse album cover. Okay.
He's like, just keep going. Just keep slashing the government spending.
Person to like read that. I'm like,
basically, like, keep going. It's good. She looks like Infierno!
We can't take them anywhere. So if we want to kind of jump over to the next segment, we can talk about Musk sending all Americans $5,000 checks using the Department of Government Efficiency savings. I have that up. Do you want me to go ahead?
Yes, please. Yeah.
Okay. Beautiful. So, billionaire Department of Government Efficiency head Elon Musk and new parent. Just kidding. Said on X, formerly known as Twitter, he would ask President Donald Trump about a proposal for a dividend that would give taxpayers a refund check of $5,000 funded by the savings from his Department of Government Efficiency update. Trump said Wednesday the plan is under consideration. James Fishback, CEO of investment firm Azoria and reportedly an outside advisor to Department of Government Efficiency, pitched the idea of a tax refund check to be sent after the expiration in July 2026. Okay, so that's something new. I didn't realize the Department of Government Efficiency is expiring in July 2026.
Yeah, they put when they enacted it, they put a expiration date because it's kind of like they're basically saying to you guys, every single department or subcommittee or things like that get enacted, they should have an expiration date so it doesn't overbloat the government again. It's like every time they say, okay, we need this for this moment, then, this kind of thing where it's like at this scale of doing like these constant audits, it's like we should we should have an expiration date so you don't keep adding to how many government departments there are currently.
Gotcha. Okay. So
that was the idea behind it. Yeah.
Okay. So it looks like the summer of July 2026, everyone would get a $5,000 check. I think announcing that might be a bit premature. I also, before I go back to the article, believe that instead of being sent a stipend, which is taxable, we should just keep slashing the government. But it does say the proposal calls. There we go. I was saying like calls and causes. Okay. For 8% of the targeted $2 trillion in savings to be returned to the 79 million tax-paying households, which Fishback said would result in about a $5,000 return per household. It's interesting to me that we have all of these like CEOs of investment firms that are like outside advisors. Like, I personally think Musk needs to be a lot more transparent with the outside advisement that he's getting, because a lot of people who work in investment firms, specifically CEOs, oftentimes have personal investments in what's going on. But I digress. It says Musk responded to Fishback's proposal, saying he will check with the president. And Musk said, obviously, the president is the commander in chief, so this is entirely up to him. Now, let's get into like kind of the big numbers. 55 billion, that's how much they estimate it will save the U.S. as of Monday. according to uh, I keep
Doge.
saying that. I know,
Doge.
Doge.
Yeah.
Doge.gov. The site says that the savings are from a combination of fraud detection, deletion, contract lease cancellations, contract lease negotiations, asset sales, grants, workforce reductions, programmatic changes, and regulatory savings. So, okay, basically everything that's wrong with the government. And that some of the widespread controversy and criticism as Musk has been unofficially leading the agency, and his team has been quickly working to reduce costs through canceling grants and contracts and reducing the federal workforce. Some of the blowback, which kind of, ties in with, I guess you would say like Susan Collins and some of her reservations,
Right.
is that it does seem to have seemingly unrestricted access to sensitive federal data. Because if Elon is working this as a private citizen, I do still see a bit of a conflict of interest there. However, it's not clear what authority they have to be handling sensitive data, and the agency and Musk are facing a number of lawsuits seeking to answer that and restrict access. DOGE was created by an executive order on Trump's first day in office last month, and the order declared its purpose was to implement the president's agenda by modernizing the federal technology and software to maximize governmental efficiency and productivity.
Mhm.
So, in a nutshell, right? We are talking about $5,000 to the 79 million taxpayers by July 2026, because they're estimating about 20% of the $2 trillion debt will collapse by then, right? And the issue is that how are we going to get there? Is it legal? How are we going to get there? And how many outsiders are giving their opinions on this? And so I obviously think it's a great idea that we do have this agency leading this. But we're going to have to see, for me, I'm just staying cautious because I think that we will find out if there are special interests that are getting,
Kickbacks or
bigger tax breaks than others. If there
contract.
are, incentivized people involved, there's just a lot. There's a lot. But when it comes down to it, I couldn't care less about the $5,000. It kind of reminds me of like a COVID stipend. You know what I mean?
Mhm. Yeah, I mean, my first thought when I heard it, and I still kind of feel the same way, only because I could really use that money. That's for sure. And I was
Yeah.
just like, wow, this sounds really great. Like
Yeah.
it would definitely change my situation for sure. I was looking it up, and so if it's $79 million, 79 million taxpayers, at $5,000 a piece, that's 395 billion that would have to go out the door. And like you were saying earlier, it might be premature to say something like that before we get to a point where our debt goes down significantly and we see that it's not going to continue to go down that route of like just adding to it. Then we can say, I think they might just be doing, just kind of rumoring this around just to continue to get the people's like support of it, because there's like a lot of people out there. I was looking on TikTok before, and there's so many people making videos of like, did you hear that we're going to get all this money back and all this other stuff? So it might just be kind of like a little thing that was sent out there just to kind of say, oh, like continue to support us, like don't waver in the support of this, because you're eventually going to get it. And a lot of people don't, myself included, I like just kind of like a human response. It's hard to delay gratification in your head. So like if you think about like it's going to bring down our inflation, the lower our debt goes, that's better in the long run rather than us getting like a quick here you go.
I
So
agree.
I'm going back and forth with it in my head because I'm like, yes, I really do want that check though. But like, I totally get the idea of like, people that are, in it and pays out the debt. Yes, I know, Brian. I know you told me earlier.
I agree with Brian because again, this is going to be taxable, so you're not going to get the full $5,000,
Was
right?
the one during COVID tax also the stimulus check? Because you said that earlier, and I was wondering.
Yeah, I think so.
Um,
Every single time you get a check, it's tax deductible. Like it wasn't like a private check.
Yeah, it's to me it sounds like ridiculous. But
Yeah. I don't know, like
the payments from the stimulus check are not taxable according to.
Oh, they're not.
Tax.
Okay,
But
well,
I
maybe that's inaccurate then.
yeah. But even so, like it still will add to the inflation. So I do agree
Right.
with the more responsible people that surround me that it's probably not a good idea to take the cookie now. We have to continue the country going in the right direction, and we have to think about the generations to come that are going to be screwed over if we continue to just burn money and print money. So
Yeah, I mean, we already stopped with the pennies. Now we have to go up to the nickels and the dimes and then the dollars.
Oh my gosh, I forgot about the poor penny. Yeah, I forgot about that.
How are you coping? Like, are you okay?
I'm all right. I still haven't found the shiny penny that I wanted to keep, but to be fair, I haven't really been looking. So.
I don't know. I mean, I'm not like a crypto girl, and I'm not like
we have
very
to
I'm not very savvy, but like I will admit that I use apps mainly to get things.
Yeah, same.
So.
All right. So all right, so what's going on in the US Postal Service? Because they got a shakeup. Coming to you from the AP, U.S. Postal Service head DOGE to step down after 5 years marked by pandemic, losses, and cost cuts. Louis DeJoy, the head of the U.S. Postal Service, intends to step down, the federal agency said Tuesday, after a nearly 5-year tenure marked by the coronavirus pandemic, surges in mail-in election ballots, and efforts to stem losses through cost and service cuts. In a Monday letter, Postmaster General DeJoy asked the Postal Service Board of Governors to begin looking for his successor. Quote, as you know, I have worked tirelessly to lead the 640,000 men and women of the Postal Service in accomplishing an extraordinary transformation, he wrote. We have served the American people through an unprecedented pandemic and through a period of high inflation and sensationalized politics. DeJoy took to the helm of the Postal Service in the summer of 2020 during President Donald Trump's first term. He was a Republican donor who owned a logistics business before taking office and was the first Postmaster General in nearly 2 decades who was not a career postal employee, which is kind of interesting. DeJoy developed a 10-year plan to modernize operations and stem losses. He previously said that postal customers should get used to, quote, uncomfortable rate hikes as the Postal Service seeks to stabilize its finances and become more self-sufficient. So I was looking up just a little bit of things here. He's there, from what I've heard from just private conversations with people that I know that work in the Postal Service, they're being overworked like dogs. They work long hours. Yeah, they barely can take time off. If you want to take time off, you have to get somebody to cover you. Imagine you're dying with the flu and you have 104 fever, and they're like, well, did you find somebody to cover you? Your manager is asking you that. And it's like, dude, you're the manager. At the end of the day, you should take the slack. You shouldn't also be having me walking around sick and getting other people sick.
Yeah, that's oftentimes really in a lot of the hospitality industry as well. It's all about any job where you either have a route or a specific section, right? Where you really need someone to cover. It's a lot different than let's just say a lot of jobs in the tech sector, or a lot of jobs where you have an office, right? Because if you don't get to your clients or your call number, your quota for the day, that's okay,
right?
You have an individual quota, but then you also have a group quota. But then it's if you have a specific route like UPS or the United States Post Office, like you need an actual person to fulfill that route. Otherwise, they're not going to get their packages for the day. And so like I imagine how harsh the conditions would be. Like I have friends in Arizona, which during the summer would talk about like driving in 120-degree heat while they're running a fever themselves. And I'm like, dude, you could faint. And they're like, well, we didn't have anyone else to cover the route that day.
Yeah, no, it's absolutely ridiculous. And if you think about it too, you're burning people out. So you're lowering their immune system, so they're probably more susceptible to getting sick as well. And they're having trouble. Real. Yeah, and they're having trouble with, kind of like a revolving door situation that's been going on for years as well, like people not wanting to stick around. So DOGE was trying to, according to like reports, that he was trying to do things where I guess you have like a probationary period that was like 40 some odd days, and then he shortened it to like 39 or something like that. So that way people get like in quicker, and they won't go through that probation process and like maybe change their minds, or giving them like a more comprehensive video of like, okay, this is exactly what you should expect working as a post officer. Do you really want this job? Like showing you the harsh conditions that you're going to be in, and things like that, not sugarcoating it.
Yeah. I mean, I think that can really go for like any field, but like specifically when you're on your feet and being like physically active, I don't know the training process, but I do think that there should be a week of paid shadowing, right? Like not necessarily putting someone like on the payroll, but just a paid week of shadowing, like where they can see if that's something that they can do. But, even then, a lot of companies lack transparency, and the shadowing could be a lot less physically demanding than actually doing it on your own, as opposed to having a partner with you. So, hopefully some good changes are going to come about. But
I mean, listen, it's been bad. I got my Christmas card from my cousin a couple weeks ago. My Christmas card. And according to him, he sent it out like before Christmas. I don't know if he's just using the whole thing of like what's happening with the post office.
Yeah.
But no, like even like stuff that I expect in the mail from, companies or whatever, it seems to like it'll have the date on it on when it was sent out, and it would arrive at my house like weeks later. So there's definitely been some kind of delay going on. Like I even tell people that at work when I'm like, are you sure you want this form to be sent to your home? Because, we can't say anything about the post office. Like once we send it out, it's in their hands. And if it takes a while to get to you, you might want to just pick it up. Like so, so let's, we have a really nice tribute that we're going to show before we get to caption this. Today happens to be the 80th anniversary of Iwo Jima and the battle there. A significant World War II conflict where U.S. Marines launched an amphibious assault on February 1945. And we have our resident military man and alleged producer, Brian, to help us out with this, because you would know better than us what it's like being, overseas and fighting for this country.
Yeah, February 19th, 1945. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you, hon.
Okay. 110,000 U.S. Marines and Navy personnel assaulted the island of Iwo Jima in the Pacific. It was a key strategic location. Over 6,800 American men died, were killed in action, mostly Marines. There were 3 times that many that were wounded. There was nearly 21,000 Japanese casualties or KIA. Very few Japanese prisoners. Anyway, today, the that battle's marked with the iconic image of the Marines raising the flag on Mount Sarabuchi. Here's a little bit of newsreel footage. Anyway, the sacrifice of those men, may it never be in vain.
No, absolutely. Well said, hon. And I know you were mentioning did you say he was the gunner sergeant? He received
Yes.
the Medal of Honor
Yeah.
on
I
Barcelona.
miss. Yeah, one of the men that died was a gunnery sergeant, Marine Corps gunnery sergeant John Basilone. He was already a combat veteran. He earned the Medal of Honor at Guadalcanal in 1943. He actually could have been discharged. He re-enlisted to go back to the Pacific because he wanted to lead Marines. And he trained them. He wanted to take them into battle, and I'm sure quite a few men actually returned home because of Gunnery Sergeant Basilone's actions. So, again, tribute to that man and all the Marines that died.
Thank you so much, Brian. Thank you. Yeah, I know that means a lot to him, because he served as well in the Army, and so that hits close to his heart. So we appreciate him for coming on and speaking on that, and just as you said earlier before the show, like he has his heart in it. So it should be him.
Yeah, I thought it was really important that he came up, especially with his service and what he does for us. And I know this was very personal, so
yeah, it's beautiful to hear those like individual stories too about men who just they really felt like they were doing something amazing. They had like that what do you call it, that bond with their service members around them, the people that they trained, and they wouldn't let them be out there when there's still war going on. Like I don't even think that person, that sergeant, would have been able to just sit home and eat some bonbons while he knew that his men were out there by themselves. So yeah, so just sending love and prayers to all the families out there of the generations that came from the people that served, and all of those that still are around that can remember that so vividly. We thank you for your service. It seems like such a small thing to say, but really, thank you.
it's a small thing, but when you think of everyone who is thanking you and commemorating you for your service, it means a lot. It could change one person's day. So
yeah, and I'm so glad that the country is turning around too, for those guys that are still around, that they can see that, like Brian said, that their fight wasn't in vain, that the lost lives of their friends weren't in vain, that lost limbs and trauma, mental trauma, and everything that they endured, that they can see the country is on the right path. Yeah. So is it time for Caption This? Should we get a little light?
Yeah.
All right. So as you guys know, if you haven't seen this show yet and you haven't joined in on our game, it's called Caption This. We're going to show you in just a minute an AI generated photo, and this is chat participation. So we ask you guys to come up with some funny captions. You can put them in the chat. We'll read them off. We're going to decide which ones we think are the funniest. If we agree, that's the automatic winner. If we don't, then we'll go to the chat to ask for a vote. And we're going to be having some Roman merch, Roman Nation. I said Roman merch. Roman Nation merch coming out soon. And our founder, AK, has decided to give prizes to people that win our championship rounds of Caption This. So if you win on a show, you will automatically be entered into the championship round, and then that is some free merch. Yeah, it's forever going to be known as Nurch now.
Oh my gosh, I feel like we should have that on a hat.
Nurch
And
and Deutsch.
Deutsch.
We can speak, people. I promise you. We know
Right.
words.
Are we the perfect example to abolish the Department of Education?
Oh dear, I'm educated. What are you talking about? I can speak. I know words. I can
I'm
count.
educated.
I definitely don't use my fingers when I'm counting.
Well, okay, let's just say I was in honors English, but failed math. I'm like that kind of smart.
It's like two different sides of the brain, isn't it? Like
It
the
is, yeah.
creative side and the, I guess, the
Yeah,
logical, like number side.
one's like English and writing and art, like artistry, and then one is more scientific and mathematical. Isn't it mathematics? That's very true.
That's good. You know, the only math, and this is gonna make me sound
Black
super
metal
shallow,
artist.
but it is what it is. The only math that I'm good at is when it comes to percentages when I'm trying to buy something. I'm like, oh, 20% off. And then I learned very quickly how to do that.
And I'm about to see what I can put in here.
That's funny. When Duran Duran was really hungry like a wolf. Hungry like a wolf. Oh, some good songs are coming out of here. I didn't even think of one myself. Okay. Here, let's see. What do you got? What half of X and non accounts look like? The Anons. Okay, so I put in Rock's answer to who let the dogs out. Rough. For a second I forgot how do you spell rough. I was gonna say rough, like that's pretty rough.
Oh, like ROUGH.
Yeah, and then I'm like, wait, it's rough. Yeah. Sled dogging slayer. That's cute.
Sled dogging slayer. I like that.
Yeah,
when you're an alpha wolf in a crowd of soy boy poodles. Let's go. I like that one. I like that one.
I really like this picture. I would totally frame this and put this on my wall. Soy boy poodles. Oh my gosh.
That actually makes sense though, because these are like that's like one of the few comments that actually is like recognizing the poodles in the background, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Has no one noticed the poodle groupies? Yep. Somebody just did.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I'm not gonna lie, like Grok did a really good job with those outfits. Like I would wear them. I would wear them.
Yeah, that jacket that he's wearing is like off the chain.
No, and then like the one in the back, it looks like it's like a one piece, like a leather like skirt, right?
Oh yeah.
I know, like that's cute.
It is cute. And then like the leather bands around the arms.
Barking Benjamin. Yes. Do you get that reference?
No.
It's I think I get it. It's are you talking about the band like Breaking Benjamin?
That wins. Oh, so it must be good.
Yeah.
Yes. Nice. Wait, so what songs do they sing? Do you know?
I don't remember. It was like emo millennial core.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay, so Barking Benjamin wins. Okay, so we got people voting for it in the chat already.
Okay, cool.
All right, so we have do you agree? Is that it? Should we give it to like another minute or two? Or do you think
I mean it's up to you. I think
that
that's
one is good too.
You're an alpha wolf in a crowd of soy boy poodles. I think it's those two.
Yeah, me too. I feel like we should do a vote. Yeah. All right. Okay, so we got Barking Benjamin, and then we have when you're an alpha wolf in a crowd of soy boy poodles. So 1 for Barking Benjamins and 2 for the soy boy poodles. I can't speak. Let us know in the chat so we can.
Okay.
I think I'm going with the soy boy one only because I don't really know the reference too much of the Barking Benjamin.
I get the reference, but I still like the analyzing like the total picture.
Yeah.
Sorry, AK. I think AK was the one that did
No problem.
that.
Okay, let's see. All right, so it looks like soy boy poodles are in there.
Diary of Jane. Yes, that's right. That's right. That's right.
I still don't know how that goes.
The
I gotta
Diary
listen.
of Jane.
I still don't know. I'm gonna have to listen to it after. I probably never heard it. So I wouldn't know, but I gotta listen to it later. All right, so it's 9:57. It looks like okay, so now it's 3-3. We need a tiebreaker,
Oh.
right? Am I bugging? Wait, 1
Oh, no, I'm not
2,
counting.
3, 1, 2, 3. Yeah, we need a tiebreaker. We might need our producer to do a tiebreaker. Oh, you did. My bad. I see you in there. Okay, yeah, he already voted. Okay. Man.
I mean, you could just put both in, right? It's like a tie.
Do a tie. If we did a tie, then we could just bring it up again right before the championship round and say, okay, we have a tiebreaker.
Yeah, we could do like
a lightning round.
Yeah.
All right, what do you guys think about that? Oh, coin flip? Oh, if I try to flip a coin, it's going to go flying and I'm not going to see where it went. You have a quarter?
Yeah. Well, we just pull up the random quarter in my pocket.
Oh, you have a quarter?
No, I was kidding.
Oh. Wait, I think I might have a quarter. Hold on. Oh, I have a dime.
Do you really?
Yeah, I do.
Wait, Brian.
Oh, Brian has a please, thank you.
Oh my gosh.
I'm just gonna lose this.
Okay, let's go.
I need every dime. All right.
Okay, cool.
Oh wait, you're muted.
Yeah, you have the wrong thing. He lost the coin. You have the wrong thing muted, Brian.
Okay, so heads is the soy boy one, and then tails is the barking Benjamin.
Gotta get another quarter.
You lost the quarter. See, I jinxed you. I'm telling you, I'm terrible at like flipping the coin.
It's because it's so dark in there.
It is dark. Hold on. I have a quarter too.
Okay, let's see here.
You got it, or I have.
Please land on the table.
Oh.
It came up heads.
Heads. Okay, so soy boy wins.
Soy boy.
All right. Great. Congratulations, Navasa. I think that's your second win so far. So you got 2 entries. Good job. All right. So, yeah, thank you guys so much. Thank you, Brian, for that. Thank you. Good job, soy boy. I can't speak. Thank you guys. That is back to back. Good job. All right. So thank you guys as always for joining us on Sunset Rants. You can find Valley and us and me and us on Sunset Rants Mondays and Wednesdays, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, right here on the Roman Nation Network. We have Tay and D on Tuesdays and Thursdays, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We also have a new show in the morning that's really getting some traction. It's called Rise with Middle America. Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays at 9-ish a.m. Eastern Standard Time. That's with Sammy. And we'll, of course, have the flagship show Roman Nation every Saturday at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So we got some great things happening over here on our network. We're growing really fast. And thank you guys for joining us. As always, you can find me on X, Elizabeth213A. Also on Instagram at that same handle, Elizabeth213, on YouTube. Where can they find you, Valley?
Yeah, so that Valley Girl, you can find me at X, the Cali Melody. And yeah, I hope you guys have a great rest of the week. You'll have to miss us until Monday.
Yes. Thank you guys. Have a great night.
Have a great night. Have a great rest of the week.
So I got to thinking, there's MAHA, Make America Healthy Again, MAGA, make America great again. But what we really need to do is make America follow the Constitution again. Motherfucker. That sounded better in my head.